Hey everybody, it's Monday evening and I just want to do a quick update on my 125 here. Had a busier day than I expected, so it's a lot later than normal. I'm just getting in here to the fish room. It's almost 9 o'clock already and I haven't even yet fed anybody. But I did want to have a little update on my new rainbow fish. I got 7 Albino Millenium Rainbowfish. You can see the one right there, that really bright sort of yellowy orange one. That is one of the females. My chief concern when putting them in this tank is my Tenopoma acutirostra you see right there. That is a fish eater. He's never really been fed fish throughout his life. I got him a tiny little thing from PetSmart years and years ago. And while he has eaten some fish that he's been housed with over the years, it's never been ones I've deliberately put in there for the purpose of feeding him. And so I've never really trained him that, other fish are a food source. And he seems to be pretty chilled out. I'm hoping just raw instinct doesn't take over. And I have seen a few occasions where these smaller fish have literally swam right up in front of his mouth, and he has just sat there and ignored them, or even swam away as though they were sort of annoying him. So I'm not too concerned about it, but it is something to think about. So, get it come down here around my waterfall tank, and this is where the rainbows have taken to just hanging out. I'm hoping they get a little more outgoing as they get a little more size to them and start swimming around a little more freely. I'm used to rainbow fish sort of darting and dashing and swimming back and forth. They're sort of open swimmers. So to see them all sort of huddled up, hiding in the leaves like this is a little bit unusual. So I think it's got to do with their size and the fact that they're housed with other large fish, whether they're being preyed upon or not. It's probably just intimidating to be in the tank with so many other large fish. Hopefully, as I said, as they get a little bigger, they'll start coming out a little more. So in my initial video, when I first introduced them to everybody, I talked about wondering what they were going to grow up to look like since they don't have any pigmentation, being albinos. And so I actually Googled it and looked up some other people's pictures of adult size Albino Millenium Rainbowfish, and they are stunning. They don't get the variety of colors like my other rainbow fish here. You can see how they've got the blacks and the oranges and different colors. And then, of course, some of them really do have every color of the rainbow in them. And these are probably not going to. These are just going to get this really, well, they're just going to sort of crank up what you already see. The females are going to be a bright orangey color. And the males are going to be this really beautiful sort of reddish orange. It's kind of hard to describe. It's somewhere between red and orange. And they are going to look amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that. Provided, of course, they grow big enough to swim on out of these leaves and all this vegetation. And lastly, I will point out that I've had someone mention that they seem to have white lips. And that can be an indication of something going wrong with the fish. Or, in this case, I'm not sure what it is, but it almost depends on which direction you look at them. Every single one of them, at one point or another, looks like they have white lips. But then I look at them again, and they don't seem to have white lips anymore. And then occasionally, when you look at them, they will have little white tips on the edges of their fins. And so I don't know if that's a built-in feature. I don't know if it's stress. I know sometimes fish will get white lips because they've darted and dashed and banged into things. It's almost like an injury kind of issue. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the little white lips like that, but I've noticed it. I noticed it when they were in the tank in the store, and I'm not too concerned about it. So we are going to just sort of keep an eye on that and let them do their thing. That right there is my one lonely little Australian rainbow fish that's in the tank all by itself. But I've never had an issue because the rainbow fish all seem to school together regardless of species. So I'm not too worried about it. And once these get a little bit bigger, I'm hoping they will start schooling with my Marcy rainbow fish. The Marcy rainbow fish are old enough now that they're probably swinging around to sort of the twilight years for them. I've already lost a few of them. Rainbow fish are not extremely long-lived fish, unfortunately. So it's probably not going to be too much longer before we're down to just the millenniums, and all of these beautiful Marcy rainbow fish will be gone. But I am really seriously considering just making this more of a rainbow fish focused tank and just adding a few more. Maybe put some Bosmani in there, maybe even put some of the albino millenniums in there and just mix up the millenniums, because the millenniums are really, really good looking rainbow fish. I don't know. The fish store, the House of Tropicals I go to, has a wide selection of rainbow fish, and if I'm willing to just grow them out a little bit in one of my other tanks or put them in a quarantine tank for a little while, I should be able to grow up a few additional species and really mix it up and get a lot of color in here. And as I said earlier, they all do school together, so it's not that big a deal. You know, some fish that, even though they're similar, simply won't school together. I've noticed that the blue neons, the regular standard model neons, do not school with black neons. I don't know why, but you put them in a tank together and they will separate into two very distinct groups, and they don't school together. Whereas cories, you know, you throw a bunch of cories in the tank, doesn't matter what species they are, they all school together. These rainbow fish seem to do the same thing. Loaches will all seem to group together with few exceptions. So the rainbow fish are definitely one on that list that, as long as they're in a group of even close to their own species, they will all group together and school nicely. So I can really mix it up and put a few little oddball rainbow fish in here and really get us some splashes of color going on. So that's about it. Very impromptu video. Again, just wanted to kind of have a look at my new fish, give an update to everybody, but unfortunately they're still just sort of laying low and hiding, and we're not getting a whole lot of look at what they really can look like swimming around the tank. So there you go. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything I got coming up. You never know what it's going to be with me, and you don't want to miss any of it, because I like to think it's all good stuff. So don't forget, this one is my 125 gallon tank. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you real soon in the next one.